when we're thinking about drawing basic organic shapes outdoors, let's say trees or hillsides or bushes or clouds or just a general landscape, always we're thinking about the general underlying shapes. So, for instance, if we think first about how our light is shining, and we might say this is a tree, more or less a round shaped tree, big shapes first, or a conical tree, we still want to think about how the light hits that object in a big way. So light, let's say middle tone. It's the same as if you were drawing and sketching a ball in a studio. There's that form, light, middle tone, and dark. And of course the same with a pyramid or a triangle. So light, middle tone, and dark. And of course they take on a certain characteristic. So if it's a fir tree, the branches are going to come down, down at the bottom and across a mid trunk, and then begin to become upwards at the top. But really, always be thinking of the big shapes first. Light, middle tone, dark. So underneath these trees are skeletons of branches and trunks. And something I'm learning, especially in Japan, is that there's just a basic theory about growth. So we'll get back to these big forms in a sec, but it's either thought of as circles or semicircles. So a trunk might be growing somewhat of a semicircle, 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 like that. Of course, then we can angularize it, and so that's the practical way that the tree begins to grow. And that is underneath the tree, the big circle. Sometimes there's sky holes so we can see through, but put these and these together and you have basic trees. So some people, I'll just stay in graphite here, and some folks tend to get their trunks and then their branches, and they tend to stop short. We just seem to do that. So it ends up looking like a cactus, too short. Think about ways to make it more elegant and extend those branches. That's much more graceful. So I'll show you another thing in graphite, is that the actual tool itself, and notice I'm holding it in a loose way, I'm not grasping it tight, I'm holding it loose. Literally start, stop, start. So what's happening is I'm pressing down hard to a junction, lifting my pencil just ever so lightly, pressing hard again. Now that's something you can practice. Find yourself a tree and play with that. So let's get back to this graphite tree here. Now I'd like us to think about this in paint. So it either can be watercolor or like a wet medium, like wet water and acrylic, or as I say, watercolor or gouache, or we can think of it with a thicker opaque medium like acrylic or oils. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to think about the big shapes first. So I'll paint over this right now, just in water, because I'm choosing to work in watercolor for the demo. Let that set just a sec. The same with my pyramid here. Wet. Now think of a middle tone. It's got light is shining this way. Wet and wet. And dark. So because it's watercolor, I get some lovely wet and wet shapes, organic shapes. Let's try a more conical tree. Light is coming. Middle value. And dark. Now, because I'm working with the watercolor medium, this is a same, we really, even if it's not watercolor, even if it's oils or any other medium, the same effect that I did with the pencil, stop, go, can happen in paint. Go, stop, go, go. Drag the brush, quick, push, pull, push, pull. Push. So every place I'm working in paint, we could also be doing this with pencil, texturizing. So I've kept it simple. I wanted you to see the basic geometric shapes, light, middle tone, and dark, and very quickly getting a very natural organic shape, working in either dry medium or wet.